Hi, I'm Luis Rodriguez, a good friend of Mickey Redwine's. Actually, Mickey and I met not that long ago, but we've become pretty close friends. He's one of those people that whenever you're his friend, you're kind of blessed to be his friend because he's loyal to the end. He doesn't have many of them, but most of the friends that he has are close friends. I talked to Mickey about, hey, let's have a quick little watch party. Next thing you know, well, he's got a bigger list, and we had to kind of cut the list off. Awesome listening to some of the stories from different people that have known Mickey for 30 plus years. You know, he really is a great guy. You know, he's told me story after story. We were talking about taking our Harleys out, and he was telling me about how at one point he would just take a sleeping bag on his Harley because that was his hotel room. He couldn't even afford a hotel room, you know, and to see how all his hard work has paid off, it's truly a blessing to know the man. And, you know, I'm just glad to be a small part of his life and a small part of putting this together. Hopefully this little video comes as something that he can keep for a long time and can look back and take a look at his friends and what everybody was saying. I'm glad everybody's taking a look at this.
My name's Martha Dickey, and I'm an attorney here in Austin, Texas. I met Mickey when I was on a board with him. I was the president-elect of the state bar, and near as I can tell, they put Mickey on there to torture me. And instead, we became really close friends.
My name is Becky Lammert, and back in 2005, I think is when I first met Mickey. I was Senior Appointments Manager for Governor Perry, and the Residential Construction Commission had just been created.
I'm Clint Kellen from East Texas, and I've known Mickey for a long time, probably longer than either one of us want to admit. I've known him probably since his son's second birthday, and such an amazing person with, you know, good character, loves his kids, loves his family, and a very hard worker. And, you know, I'm honored to be here. It's a very interesting story, you know, how he came up, and when you start thinking about the internet and how it started and where it's at now with how he, you know, contributed to it is very interesting.
You know, my favorite story about Mickey, and this was a board of lawyers, right? It was all the big-time lawyers in Texas, and we were all on this board, and we were remodeling our building and spending millions of dollars. And so Mickey's our public member, right? And instead of having any of the lawyers do the negotiation on behalf of the State Bar of Texas, we actually had to get Mickey to do it. He wrote the contracts, he put it all together, he supervised all the people that were involved. And so at the end, we hadn't finished and Mickey's term was up. And so we had to go and get Mickey reappointed for another year so that he could come in and get our building finished, negotiated, tied up with the bow on top. And the lawyers couldn't do that. So that's the best part about Mickey is he can do damn near anything. I mean, he really can.
I was looking for a public member, and I honestly don't even know where I came up with Mickey's name, but he came in my office to be interviewed. He showed up in shorts with all of his kids, and I just said, y'all go tour the Capitol, and let me go talk to your dad. And I realized that he had some really good business background for what we needed on TRCC. And so he served on TRCC as long as it existed. I don't even remember right now, 4 or 5 years. And then I was also working on appointments to the State Bar, and that's when we ended up appointing him to the State Bar as a public member. And I never knew how that was going to work out, but obviously it worked out really well. So I was really happy about that because they kept calling me going, would you please reappoint him? And I think we finally did reappoint him. I think there's a limit on how many times he could be reappointed. But anyway, it was just been a pleasure knowing him through the years.
I've done a lot of really tough, unusual jobs. Set a world record in directional drilling. I've done some jobs none other people could do, especially through the swamps in Louisiana and throughout Mexico. But my greatest accomplishment are my 4 kids. They're great kids. They don't drink too much. None of them have ever done drugs. None of them have ever been in trouble with police. They're awesome kids. I was blessed by the good Lord with good kids. And good work. Lots of good work. I have a high school education. When I was in high school, I had 3 jobs. I went to work stocking a grocery store shelves before work, and then after work I had 2 jobs. One was flipping burgers, and the other was painting houses. So I never had time to go to college, nor could I afford it. Some of the smartest people I know don't have a college education. Some of the wealthiest people I know, which happen to be friends of mine, have a high school education. I used to live in Odessa, Texas, and I was an industrial painter. I painted in sulfur plants and gasoline plants. And then I moved to Tyler and started painting houses. When I moved here, I made $5 an hour. And I hated it because it was dirty, it was nasty, but most of all, it was $5 an hour. And so I got into cable TV, moved to New Orleans, and then after the cable TV system was built, I got into fiber optic cable. When I started doing underground construction work, I made sure that I got into really tough, unusual jobs that nobody else wanted, or they shied away from, or they had tried and failed. Because it paid more money, the risk was higher, but it paid more money and there was less competition. And that's the jobs that I would seek out. But later in my career, I bid very few jobs. I had a good reputation all over the United States, just taking on this type of job, and I would negotiate the work. The biggest project that I ever negotiated was I built a fiber optic system between Baton Rouge, Louisiana and Mobile, Alabama. I placed 20 ducts in the ground and I negotiated that contract, and it was $18 million. I got my first piece of equipment was in New Orleans. It's called a Georgia buggy. And the cable TV company there, I went to them and asked them to give me a job doing construction work, and I had no experience. So they gave me a small one to start with. It was maintenance, and they let me replace some of the, they call them handholds, or small vaults in the sidewalk. And it's where the conduit comes in and leaves. And they placed the cable TV through it, and some of them were damaged, we were having to replace them. I couldn't afford to get a backhoe or a bobcat or a dump truck, or even a jackhammer, so I was breaking the concrete out with a large sledgehammer, and I would take the pieces of concrete and haul them down the road and put them in the back of my pickup truck to haul them off to the dump. And there was an old mom and pop hardware store right beside one of the vaults I was replacing. This old man came out. He was probably 80 years old. He was the owner of the hardware store, and he said, "Son," he said, "I've been watching you. You're kind of working your ass off." He said, you need a buggy or something to haul this concrete in, a wheelbarrow." I said, "I can't afford one." He said, "Come here." He took me inside and he showed me one. It's called a Georgia buggy. And I said, "Well, how much is it?" And I think it's like $150, $175. I couldn't afford it. He said, "You take it, son, and then you pay me when you can." I've got it out here in the shop. Let's go look at it. This is the Georgia buggy, my first piece of equipment that I bought when I went in business. This is the one the old man let me pay him out because I couldn't afford it. And that was in about 1981.
Wow, this is what started Dynamic?
That's it. That started Dynamic Cable. I kept it all these years. This is one job in particular. This was in South Louisiana, south of New Orleans. We were required to drill from one island to the other. And I had to use barges to get my equipment out there, and we lived on these barges for like 2 months. We was working 24 hours a day. I had 2 crews, 7 days a week. And I believe the name of this was Rabbit Island, and we had to drill under what's called Rigolets Pass. And the depth of it was over 100 feet of the water itself, and we went 150 feet deep under the river. And there was a 5,000-foot bore. We worked on this for 30 days non-stop, and when we got from 100 feet from punching out, and what that means in our terminology is when you punch out a bore, it comes out of the ground, you finish it. We were about 100 feet from punching out, and we twisted off. So what that means was we lost the entire bore, all the work, and about $200,000 worth of boring equipment under the ground. We scooted the rig over 10 feet, started again, drilled a whole new hole. This was one of the toughest jobs that we've ever did as far as directional drilling, except for the Potomac River. The Potomac River, we set a world record. It was 6,600 feet in length. And this is the Potomac River here. That was done for a communications company. And this was very unusual in that there was limited access space to set the rigs up on each side. And there are a lot of tree huggers. This is just outside Washington, D.C. And we had all this specialized equipment coming in. In fact, Secret Service came out to check us out to see what we was doing, because this was very close to the White House. But this set a world record at the time. Another job, this one. A flood came through New Braunfels, Texas, and took out a sewage pipe. And it was pumping over 500 gallons a minute of raw sewage into the Guadalupe River, which was a big tourist river for New Braunfels. So this happened a couple of days before Halloween. So they called me to come on Halloween to do it, and I told them I had to take my kids trick-or-treating, and I'd do it after Halloween. They said there wasn't time. So we took our kids to New Braunfels. They trick-or-treated there, and Halloween day, we were doing the bore. This, you need to read this story. It's a good one. This was in Mexico. It's called the Devil's Bore. It would take me too long to explain to you. You need to read about it. But there's a bridge that was cursed by the devil, so the locals said. And they said the only way that we would be able to bore under that river was to give tribute to the devil. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that, but I'm just curious, what kind of tribute? And according to the locals, you had to kiss a certain part of the devil. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to say my prayers and we're going to get it done. There was an old man, a villager that worked there, and he said he was so sure that we wouldn't get it done that if we did, he would cut his right thumb off. He was out there every day while we were working. When we punched out of the ground, the old man was standing there, and he turned around and took off. We never seen him again. And I bought beer and barbecue and tamales for all the locals and for my crew, and we celebrated. That was a tough one. This one, Dynamic Overcomes Desert Obstacles. I had the contract between Salt Lake City and Denver, Colorado. And along the railroad track, it's a 700-mile project. We had the contract to do all the directional bores. And we would work 7 days a week from daylight to dark. And many times in the winters, it would be below zero. This is just a few of the projects that we've done that the magazines, they would send reporters out to my job site and take pictures and take notes. And then they would send me the plaque. But this is just a few of the really tough jobs that we did in my career. Go for no. What that is, and I teach this to my kids, you have to keep pushing. You have to sell yourself to the customer. And you keep pushing until they say no. You go for no, but you settle for nothing less than yes. My kids use this on me all the time. I'll get aggravated at them and I say, okay, I'm tired of talking about it. Dad, you taught us this. And it works, because they wear me down. In business and in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. two things I had to develop, or three things actually, that were very important. One of them was the wave action in that cove due to wind and due to boats going by and causing waves that make the boat dock go up, down, and sideways. If you hooked it permanently to the trim and the I-beam, something's going to break. So what I did, I took the fifth wheel off of an 18-wheeler and I inverted it. So on the beam, you've got a big ball, and then on the tongue of the boat dock, you've got the apparatus off of fifth wheel. And so what you get is you get this movement. Just like an 18-wheeler going down the interstate, the trailer moves separate from the truck itself. So that's what happens with my boat dock. That solved that problem. The next problem was all the utilities coming down from topside, from the land to the boat dock. When the boat dock comes up during the flood, all those would get tangled in rocks and break. So what I did, I encapsulated those in an umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is about 14 to 16 inches ID, and so 300 feet long. And I placed all the utilities inside that, and I made it buoyant. And the way I did that is I put an empty 2-inch HDPE conduit in it. And then when we put this umbilical cord into the lake, it spirals from the bottom of the lake up. So as the boat dock goes up, the coil, it will feed it because the water pressure forces the boat dock vertical and horizontal. And as it does, it drags the umbilical cord with it. It takes what it needs, and then as the lake comes down, it coils up again. And then the extra conduit that I put in it to make this umbilical cord buoyant underneath it, it's full of air. But originally the whole thing floated. It wouldn't give me the springing effect that I needed. So I would add enough water as needed to sink that. And then I can adjust it accordingly by forcing water out of the conduit or putting more in it. And you force it out with air. And the third thing, this was a problem mandated by LCRA. Because I've got living quarters on the boat dock, they required me to have a sewage system that would not leak into the lake. So I developed one. It's got a macerator in it, and it macerates the solids into a liquid, which I pump. I've got over a 200-foot elevation change that I've got to pump up. And so once the solids are macerated, and before I pump them up, I've got a float, and it recognizes when the tank is full, the macerator comes on, macerates it, and then I've got another float with a chemical injection, and it squirts a few pumps of red dye into the liquefied emulsion, and it dyes it. So if there ever were to be a leaking conduit or a blowout in a fitting, I would see the lake around the boat dock would be colored a bright green. The LCRA had me do CAD drawings of it, and that became the criteria by which anybody else that built a system like that on the lake had to build theirs by. And mine was the first legally permitted on Lake Travis.
What are we doing here?
This is a casket store, dude. That's where we're gonna get our casket.
A casket? What do caskets run?
$1,800 for a cheap one.
Man, that's almost as much as we spent on the entire car.
You can't buy them used. The car's used. The casket's new.
Can't we buy them used? That would be kind of cool.
I don't know. I'll check. Look,
We're in the
we're
world-
gonna have to
we're
do
gonna-
some
this
serious
isn't-
negotiations because I agree, $1,800 is not in our budget.
That's true. Where's the funeral home? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's actually... Wow.
It's not a funeral home, it's a casket store, Lewis. There's a difference. This is how you save money.
What'd you end up getting this for?
Lewis, this is an $1,800 casket, a third of the price, $600.
$600?
$600, baby.
How'd you get this for $600? Is there a story?
You know there is.
Oh, Lord, I can't wait to see
You know how I
this.
negotiate.
Oh, Lordy, I can't wait to hear this one.
Let's go. Well, I'll tell you over a beer. Let's go have a beer and lunch.
I don't know what's going on here, but Mickey and I stopped for lunch, and he ordered some guacamole, and this is what he got. I think I know why, Mickey. Why do you like this guacamole, Mickey?
It's not because they resemble breast. I just like guacamole.
That's the way they came out. Laughing at him?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Because he has a casket?
Because he just did this. Listening to it.
Well, the guy should be all right. He should be dead.
That's good.
Hey, how you doing?
Sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this yours?
Yeah, it's my cousin in there.
Whoa. Wait, your cousin's in there? It's for your cousin.
I'm sorry?
I was just driving by and I've never seen a
What? I got
casket.
kind of an unusual request. What it is, my cousin raised longhorns. He got gored by one of them. He died from the injury. Well, we just had the funeral services, and I tried to get the funeral director to come by here in the hearse to see if he said by law they've got to go straight to the gravesite. So I put Freddie, my cousin, in the back of my truck to come over here to see. Can you mount these on there for? He's in there, but he's in a bag. Can you mount those? Well, because everybody's waiting at the funeral site for me. I'd have to. We could take the body out. I mean. You never mind any on a casket? No. Well, Freddie was a big longhorn guy. You think that looks good? Okay.
You'd have to drill through here and move it here.
Well, that's what I say. We can take the body out and put him in my truck.
No, I don't want to do that. I think you just strap it on.
Would you help me get the body out?
Gee, I don't want to do it.
I just stopped to video the casket, man.
His wife is counting on this. Believe me, I don't want to mess with this either.
Are you gonna do that, sir?
I'm just telling him to strap it on when he gets there. And then, if you're going to bury it with him, or
Yeah, we're going to put him in the ground just like that.
leave the straps on there and don't put it on until you get there.
All right, well, I'll just buy these then.
Okay. Okay.
Is that the weirdest thing that's happened to you today, sir?
Damn sure it is. That's for the past year. Anyway.
Oh my God, freaking Mickey. Gotta love it.
That's the scariest shit to see, to walk out and see one of the other shit like that in the truck.
I heard you, and then my last night of dead bodies. That's my cousin. Will they?
Yeah, probably down here.
Did y'all help me carry it in? What are you doing? You help me carry the body in? I want to sell the blood out of the body. It's my cousin. He committed suicide. I heard you can sell the blood here.
You serious? You can't really
I'm
see
serious. But I can't take the casket in, but will y'all help me carry the body?
Oh! Yeah,
No.
He dead serious.
No, I'm dead serious.
Dead serious.
I'm dead serious. My cousin Freddie.
And how long ago was that?
He killed himself yesterday.
We have the hearse here. Ta-da! Ran into this buddy over here. He walked in here, and he's actually he's been in the funeral business, right, bro?
Yes, sir.
All right, come over here. Let me give me some of the ideas. So we were having this conversation. I thought this is something people have to listen to. What's up, man? What's your name?
Mitchell. My name is Mitchell Branch. I'm affiliated with the Winfield Funeral Home out of Alexandria, Louisiana. But I live in Houston, Texas. And when I saw this design, the inside of it, it really caught my eye because I see so much potential in this idea, you know, and it's a great idea that I have, you know, especially, let's go up here, you know, looking on the inside.
All right, there's a dude taking pictures of it.
I see the way that you have it.
All right. Oh, you guys have to listen to this. This has got a little creepy.
You know, you guys have it designed as for what, like a party or
Yeah, to carry people in the back,
Yeah.
and people can come out through the coffin and all that.
Yeah.
So what was your idea?
But see,
to
the
actually
unique
make it a
idea,
wardrobe, right?
the unique idea that I see is with the seats being in the back right here. I see it as a funeral coach, whereas pallbearers, you can have your pallbearers along with the casket inside one vehicle.
The pallbearers and the casket.
And the casket.
One vehicle.
One vehicle.
Boom.
Boom.
Where are you going to
Everything.
put the casket?
The casket would go in the back. Only thing I can see, you might have
Well,
to.
where the pallbearers going to go if they go in the back?
In the
Unless you're
seats
going to
right
do
here.
it like that on the top.
No, the pallbearers right here in the seat.
All right.
Your seats, okay. So you have your driver and your passenger seat, and you have the two seats back there. That's 5 to 6 people right there that you can fit inside the vehicle. The casket can go right there because this vehicle is designed, even without the seats in there, you could put the casket in there and you would still have at least a foot to a foot and a half of space for your casket. So it wouldn't be a problem with, you know, with your casket stopper. Can you open the back?
Yeah, I sure will as soon as Patricia finishes
But the design is so unique though, man. But I can see that, man, and I don't think it's patent. No one has patented that. But with this idea, I just saw that, you know, that vision came upon me where a casket and the pallbearers
and the pallbearers in the same car.
in the same car. One
Like,
unique funeral
is there
service.
a one-stop shop, right?
One-stop shop.
So
One
is that
unique
is
funeral
that a
service.
problem in the funeral service business? Is that the pallbearers don't have a way to get to the?
It really is. You know, we deal with that a lot. A lot of times when we go and, you know, we deal with families and upon our arrival or their arrival to the funeral service, it's so hard to try to get the pallbearers together. We can look at the obituary and see that the pallbearers that are on there, but all the time they are not together, they are not there. So with this vehicle being in mind, especially going to the cemetery for the disposition, it would be a great idea to just have them all, along with the casket, to ride in one vehicle.
One vehicle, so you know
Man,
where everybody's at.
That's it. We
Like
have
herding
everything
cats,
together,
baby.
man.
Boom, you put all the cats in one hearse.
I don't think no one's patented that. It's
I
not
wonder
patented.
why.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. But I saw that unique idea when I saw those seats in the back of this, and that's like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, put the people in with the dead body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Man,
I
that
wonder why
makes a lot
nobody's
of sense,
patented that.
man. No one's patented that, man.
It's freaky.
Oh yeah.
All right, bro.
Nice
What's up,
seeing you guys. Winfield Funeral Home, Alexandria, Louisiana.
Alexandria, Louisiana. See you guys soon.
Okay, we are going to indiscreetly tag members of the opposition. Here we go. Follow me, Lewis.
Let's get ready to rumble! We're going to show you something called the pit maneuver. Technical term for that is precision immobilization technique. Pit maneuver is how to stop bad guys, not with a big crash, but a gentle tap.
The closest vehicle to that suspect vehicle will pull up on its right-hand side or left-hand side, whatever one is more closer to it in a safe area. Hit it in the rear bumper just below the tire. Spin the car out in the direction it wants it to go to.
You guys ready?
It's about to break down.
Let's turn this up.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, one moment, did you capture it? Just let it slip. Yo, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's joking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, plow. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. And he does not dream. He won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter. He's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stagnant. He knows when he goes back to this mobile home. That's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't lose itself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity grows once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity grows once in a
Tonight, quirky telecom titan who went from laying cable to living La Vida Loca. They're all coming up on Blue Collar Millionaires. How we roll. Pop quiz. What do you call a helicopter jumping, mask wearing, gun toting, thrill seeking, bad guy chasing, private resort owning, ditch digging, cable laying, telecom titan turned licensed police officer?
I'm Mickey Redwine. Welcome to Texas.
That's right. You call him Mickey Redwine. The biggest, fattest, most unusual millionaire to ever walk the Lone Star State. And this is his story.
My world is high energy, 24/7. I live fast, I work hard, and I play hard. What size ring are you going to run?
Right now we're running an 18.
32 years ago, I started Dynamic Cable, which is the mother company of 3 telecom companies that I own. We place fiber optic cable above the ground, under the ground to provide Wi-Fi, cable TV, and telephone services.
When most people hear fiber optic cable, they think of nerdy engineers and fancy white lab coats. But for Mickey Redwine, it just means another day of getting down and dirty.
Doing telecommunications construction is not as easy as some people might think. The telephone companies will give us from point A to point B. We have to figure out how to get there and what methods to use. It can be excavation, it can be hand digging, it can be directional drilling, hundreds of feet deep. The telecom companies, they sit behind a desk and they engineer a project and it looks good on paper. In real life, you get out there, you either can't do it or it's tough as hell.
Lucky for Mickey, tough as hell is his specialty. He's always embraced the big jobs and with them, the big paydays.
Our biggest revenue year, we grossed over $72 million. I'll attribute that to being a turnkey operation and taking on tough and unusual jobs that other contractors shied away from. We took them and we completed them.
No, Mickey Redwine never let a little fear get in the way of opportunity. Because growing up, that was a luxury he couldn't afford.
Growing up in West Texas, we didn't have running water in the house. We didn't have electricity. I would ride around the town going through dumpsters with duct tape on my shoes, picking up scrap metal. It inspired me and it drove me to become successful. After high school, a buddy of mine went to work doing installations for cable TV. He was making $100 a day. To me, at that time, that was huge money, so I got into it. I stayed in the cable TV industry until business cooled off. Then I looked at what was next. It was fiber optic. That was cutting edge technology at the time. When fiber optic cable came along, they offered not only cable TV, they offered telephone services and Wi-Fi. The rush was on with the big telephone companies, and I took advantage of it.
Did he ever? Because unlike his rivals, Mickey could handle every part of the process, from ripping up earth to dropping down cable, and that allowed him to navigate tricky terrain others feared to tread.
No was never an answer for us. We were the first contractor to ever drill under the Potomac River and place fiber optic cable. At the time, it was a world record. Another one was placement of cable TV in the French Quarter. We had to number each stone and then do the excavation, then place those stones back in the exact location where they were. What's going to be inside the 20-inch casing? The more unusual and the tougher the job was, the more dangerous, the more we got paid. I put blood, sweat, and tears into my success. It sure as hell did not come on a silver platter.
As they say, no pain, no gain. Dynamic Cable has had a lot of gain.
From 1984 to 2000, I grew my companies from having one employee to over 450. In my first year of business, we grossed less than $100,000. By 2001, our gross sales exceeded $72 million. When it comes to margins, mine were exceptionally high. I was in the mid-30s. That's unheard of in telecom.
With that sort of success, you'd understand if Mickey wants to take it easy. Guys like Mickey, well, they don't do easy. Nope. Instead of hitting the greens with a 9-iron, this multi-millionaire's chasing down crooks with a 6-shooter.
Being a man that wears many hats, I took it to the next level and I became a police officer. I always wanted to be a cop, but I didn't seek it as a profession because it couldn't afford my family and the lifestyle that I wanted them to have. I got my certification like any other police officer, and I'm licensed just like any other police officer. The difference is I'm unpaid by choice. I furnish my own equipment, furnish my own car. A lot of my police officer buddies think I'm nuts. They don't understand why I'm still on the street doing police work. But you know what? That's how I relax. After running a multi-million-dollar corporation, there's nothing I like more than kicking doors and putting drug dealers in prison.
And as anyone who's seen a superhero movie knows, when an eccentric millionaire/crime fighter is done for the day, it's time to unwind at the biggest, most kick-ass piece of real estate possible. And for Mickey, well, that's this place.
It's a private resort for my friends and family. 80 acres of the prettiest real estate on Lake Travis in Austin. It's got a 6 million gallon swimming pool with 2 waterfalls and 2 beaches. Welcome to my bachelor pad boat dock, Red Wine. My original plans were to have a house, a guest house, and a ranch house. Got a divorce, decided to build a bachelor pad. If there's a bigger one in Texas, I don't know about it. Nowhere but the state of Texas, where you get cascading waterfalls coming from a 6 million gallon swimming pool, flowing to a floating boat dock bachelor pad. What else could a man ask for?
Sure, Mickey might not be your average millionaire, but who the hell wants to be average? He gets his kicks breaking the mold.
People never know what I'm going to do next. I like to keep them guessing. I might be riding my Harley with that crazy blue mask, and I love every minute of it. If it ain't fun, I ain't playing.
Watch your bag, Dustin. He's getting ready to come in.
Pretty thick, though.
It's big.
Okay. Any millionaire would tell you that to grow your wealth, you need to invest. But Mickey, Connie, and Mike are looking for the kind of returns more valuable than money. So whether it's charity, family, community, they're using their cash to ensure those around them have a better life. Mickey is helping take bad guys off the streets of his town.
As a police officer, I work for free and donate my services, and I furnish my own equipment and car. Putting bad people in prison keeps our community safe. And boy, do I love it.
If there's one thing these millionaires have learned, it's that while having a 7-figure bank account can give you the good life, real wealth means helping others have a better one.
I am classified as an unpaid police officer. Unpaid full-time peace officer, same thing as a police officer. I always wanted to be a cop, but I was raised very, very poor. And I knew that I didn't want my kids to have the life that I could afford them on that salary, because I wanted to make sure that they were given a proper education and didn't live like I lived. Not that police officers aren't paid well, because nowadays a lot of them are, but I wanted more. I was driven. And so after I became successful, I decided to be a police officer.
Is there any message that you want to say to Mickey?
Thank you for your service. You have just really been a great public servant. And I know that the governor really appreciated what you did, and I appreciated what you did because I had to follow you around and figure out what was going on. But no, he's a great public servant.
Business and in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate.